Hello, this is video diary number 9, and this will be a bit of a summary of the last week or so, because the last couple of these have been about specific things. One was a story about the horse ride, and another was a sort of summary discussion. It was me ranting about Mongolian society, Mongolian culture. And I think I want to start with a couple of points on that video diary number 8 that I just ran out of time really to mention. One of them is that the arguments I was making against Mongolian society, the criticisms that I had, were not of Mongolian society. It was of the society that is, or the structure and organisation of society that Mongolia is using, and it's one that's used by most countries around the world, and so it's the one used by my own country. And I suppose, as I alluded to in that entry, the issues that I have are just amplified here in Mongolia because it's an embryonic form of the kind of society that I live in. And the other point to make is that the people here that I've met in Mongolia, I know I mentioned this, but I do need to reiterate it, every single person, every single Mongolian I've met has been genuinely nice. I haven't met anyone that have come away with any bad feeling about it at all. Well, there's a cab driver that charged me like twice what you'd expect to be charged for the route, but you know, I had a big bag, I didn't care. But to a man and woman, they have been really nice people, and so my issues were not with Mongolia or Mongolian people. It was just the kind of society that is being fashioned here at the moment. So, to summarise what's happened recently, went on a 4-day trip to the countryside, which you will know about if you've heard these before, and went to a hot spring, which was great. It was like 12 hours drive in total out of Ulaanbaatar, which in itself is the most remote capital city in the world, and that was great. To sit in a hot spring and have a beer there was fantastic. Saw the ancient city, but I mean that was great, but it was very cold because there'd been a snowstorm earlier in the day. The other night, myself and 3 other volunteers, Ruby from California, Alex from Portland, and Fraser from about 9 different Western Hemisphere countries, went to the Ivy restaurant in Ulaanbaatar, and if you know me on Facebook, then you would have heard me say don't know if I'm that comfortable going to the Ivy in a place like Ulaanbaatar, but you know, it was nice to not eat mutton, and to anyway, we went there. It was nice, and to the extent it was possible, the materials that I have at my disposal sort of got dressed up for that, and we ate there. Then we went to a pub nearby that Fraser knew, which was brilliant because it was the absolute opposite of the Ivy. It was a grotty, grimy, messy, dirty student pub, and that was fantastic. And there was a foosball table and a pool table, and there was a stage with some guitars on it and a drum kit, and great, absolutely perfect. We may have been a little overdressed, but well, no, I wasn't, to be honest. I was underdressed for the Ivy. I was dressed perfectly well for this place. We'd been there a while, been beaten thoroughly at foosball and pool by some locals, and then a couple of guys came in. One of them was and has been the head of the Mongolian Chopper Association for 12 years, called Tomorrow, I think. And I wasn't quite sure whether he was saying call me tomorrow because there was a gig to go to tomorrow, or my name is tomorrow, call me tomorrow. Anyway, there was confusion there. But the other guy was the son of the lead guitarist of the what seemed to be one of the most famous rock bands in Mongolia. The name starts with CH or SH, Shomaro or something like that. Been around for years and hundreds of albums apparently, and were playing the Ulaanbaatar Palace the next night. And this guy was the son of the lead guitarist and a roadie for the band. So we stayed with them for a while, drank some vodka with them. Ruby, Fraser and Alex then left. I stayed around, had some more vodka, played some guitar with this guy, and played some drums, even though I'd never touched a drum kit in my life, and I think the noise I was generating was evidence of that. After a while, the owner of the place, I think, wanted us to leave, so we left after the other guy had parked his chopper in the pub. We left and we went to a nightclub, which I visited in the daylight, and it's called Oasis, and it was it seemed to me to be down a few sort of side streets and back alleys, and you kind of, it's impossible not to think, I wonder if I'm going to get a club in the back of my head at some point. Which, shame on me for thinking that, because actually these guys were very nice, and that was not going to happen. Got there, and there was a couple of Swedish guys there, which was good, because someone that speaks fairly good English, so went over and said hello to them. First question in that scenario is always, what the hell is this place? Or no, do you speak English? What the hell is this place? Where am I? And then went back to the other two, and we were drinking vodka in this little booth in this club. I'm guessing for a couple of hours. It was probably 12:30 when we left the pub, and then it's guesswork, really. I know that I'd spent all of my local money on vodka. I mean, it wasn't that much, but I'd spent it all. So I didn't get a cab home. I've got some photos on my phone that date it at about 3:30 in the morning. So if I was outside taking photos at 3:30 in the morning, I'm guessing it was 4-ish when I got home. But no memory, really, at all of that. But that was a great night. It led to an enormous hangover the next day, which was my last day at the school. But the good thing was that hangover seemed to be suspended for the sort of 3 or 4 hours that I was at the school, which was great. And what wasn't great was that I'd run out of money, and therefore I had to carry the vacuum cleaner and fruit, big sort of bag of fruit that I'd got for the orphanage, the half-hour walk to the orphanage rather than getting a cab, unfortunately. But it was great. In the end, they were very pleased to get this stuff. The people there had asked me to buy this vacuum cleaner, and I was more than happy to do so. And it was good to see the kids eating fruit as well. That was great. So got lots of photos of that, and that was really good. And the kids knew I was leaving as well. I was a little worried that they wouldn't actually know that I was leaving and realise it, but they were, they did realise that was it, and I wasn't coming back. So that's about it, but I'm going to let daylight in on magic here. I've got a little pad of things to remember, and in fact I've forgotten a couple of things, which I'll mention now. What they gave me, what the school gave me, was another one of these, which is slightly more operational than the last one, and a rather fetching pink scarf, which was very nice of them. This little pad is so that I don't forget things, because I can't edit this, and if I miss something out, I've just got to record it all again. So that's about it, but I do want to mention what I'd do differently if I did this again. And it's basically about the organisation that I've used to do this. They're called Projects Abroad, and I think it's my not reading the tin properly, because they probably do exactly what they say on the tin, but I just haven't read the tin well enough here. I think what they do is give you work experience, and that's different to volunteer work. If you are studying medicine, perhaps, then it is fantastic, because you can come here to Ulaanbaatar and see things and get to do things in many cases that you would have to wait 3-4 years to do in your own country when you're at medical school or whatever. So that's great, and that genuinely is a really worthwhile kind of work experience. The problem is, with the kind of work that I was doing in an orphanage, there were times when I thought, am I being of benefit to the people around me here? Am I genuinely being of benefit? And unfortunately, I think in a lot of times the answer was no. It's why I was happy to buy a vacuum cleaner for them, because it felt like I was helping. When I've done this sort of thing before in Tanzania, in that example, it was with a charity, and I knew that actually 50% of what I gave them up front was going directly to the charity in terms of money. So even if I stood around doing nothing, they're actually getting benefit out of my being there. But actually, I think in that scenario, the work was such that actually it did benefit the people as well as the money that I'd paid. I suppose the problem here was that I was neither benefiting them with the way I work, or I felt I wasn't with my work, nor were they getting that much money for me being there. I think that's symptomatic of the fact that this was a private company that I used, and if I did this again, I would find a secular charity where they were only working in the interests of the beneficiaries. So I'm going to get on a train about this time tomorrow, and I'll be on it for 4 days, and when I get off I'll be in Moscow, and the next day I'll be back in London. So I'll do another one of these when I'm on the train, but I won't be able to upload it obviously until I get to Moscow, which will be on the 3rd of October. I think that's it, and I'm running out of time, so thank you for all the messages from people that have got in touch, and I'll speak to you soon.